Happy day, everybody, and welcome back to the show, Mortgage Talk and More. I'm your host, Mark Hairston, and I'm very excited to host a friend of mine today. Going to be talking about home warranties and the value of that, and all the ins and outs of what you need to know when you're either buying a property that needs to have a home warranty, or even if you own a property currently, or maybe even a seller. The value of home warranties and what they cover and some of the ins and outs of that. Elaine Maxey is with Fidelity Home Warranty, Fidelity National. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And glad you're here, because I always say when I have a guest on that it's sort of self-serving. I've been in the mortgage space for 39 years, and almost, I would say, 99, if not 100% of my clients have always gotten a home warranty. Okay.
Right.
It's not something I get involved in personally. I usually don't choose that. The realtors are usually involved in that process more. But again, I don't know a lot about them. I mean, I have them on my homes. We use them sometimes, but I want you to share your experience and a little bit about your background. So welcome, Elaine.
Thank you, Mark. I'm excited to be here and share a little bit about home warranties, some of the misconceptions, and how they can add value. I actually I grew up in Virginia, but I have been in the Austin area for over 20 years now.
Great.
So I think of Austin as being home.
Mm-hmm.
My background is quite varied. I actually started in the financial arena. I have a CPA and then moved over into technology, and from there moved from the financial side over into sales and marketing, and have had a number of sales and marketing positions.
Awesome.
So now I'm in real estate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you in the warranty business, you said about 10 years?
10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've seen a lot of changes, most likely.
Oh, yes.
Over the industry, just like we have in the mortgage space, or, industries change and because of economies, things, change, come and go. So I want to talk a little bit about the warranty, the residential service contract / home warranty.
Yes.
Versus home insurance.
Sure.
Okay. Because they're two distinct things, and people don't understand sometimes the distinction of those. So
Yeah.
share that, number one.
I get a lot of questions about that. And I think that a lot of times buyers get confused with the home warranty versus the homeowner's insurance. So let's start with what a home warranty or residential service contract is and what it covers.
Please.
So a home warranty or residential service contract is going to cover your main systems, and that would include like your HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and then your appliances that are in the home.
Okay.
And it's going to cover them for breakdowns due to normal wear and tear. And that is kind of the key right there.
Okay.
And
that
how
phrase
it's different.
right there.
That phrase,
okay.
Yes. So it's breakdowns due to normal wear and tear. Where with homeowners, it is more of a damage due to maybe a cause of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Such as
windstorm, hail,
windstorm,
fire.
Yes, fire, theft, and
like
those
that.
kind of things.
Yeah.
And also secondary damage. So, for instance, I'll give you a couple examples of what would be covered by homeowners and what would be covered by a home warranty.
Okay.
Okay, let's say that your condensing unit, your AC condensing unit that's on the ground outside, let's say it were to get struck by lightning.
Okay.
That would actually be a homeowner's claim.
Got it.
Okay.
Because of natural causes.
Exactly, the lightning. Now let's say that it just a part wears out just over time. Maybe the whole condenser goes out. That would be a home warranty.
Okay.
Now, homeowners and home warranty can also work in conjunction with one another. For instance, let's say that you have a plumbing pipe in the wall and it starts to leak.
Okay.
The actual repair of that plumbing pipe would be home warranty. Any secondary damage to the floor, the cabinets would be homeowners.
Interesting. So it does cover plumbing too.
Yes.
See, I wasn't even aware of that.
Yes.
To be honest with you. And like, so one thing about in my world, in the mortgage space, when somebody buys a home and they're going to mortgage it, they're going to get a loan on it. Right. They're required to get a home owner's policy.
Correct.
But they're not required to get a home warranty policy, which is sort of interesting that they probably should. Most people do.
Yes. And, that's something that I've noticed. You're correct. You do not have to have a home warranty in place for a mortgage.
Right.
Now, I have been receiving some mail outs that I think sometimes are misleading. So I just want to make people aware that I'm glad you bring up that point. A home warranty is not required for a mortgage
Hmm.
because some of these mail outs that are going out, I think kind of scare people and telling them that, oh, we see that you don't have a home warranty in place on your home. So just
Interesting.
be aware of those.
That's an interesting point. Never really thought about that strategy, if you will, to market your services.
Yeah.
And we were talking before the show. I sort of relate it to mortgage insurance on some level, in the respect that some people think that the mortgage insurance protects them in case something happens to them. Their mortgage is paid off. Well, that's not the way it is. The mortgage insurance protects the lender in case you don't make payments. Okay, so I always
Right.
have to make sure they're clear about that,
Right.
because there
Exactly.
are policies you can buy, insurance, life insurance policies, otherwise that would cover you in case of death or whatnot, but not in the traditional mortgage insurance. So, and speaking of that, homeowners policies are highly, if you will, flexible. You can add different coverages like jewelry coverages or antiques, or elevated liability coverages, things like that. So is the home warranty policies the same, where you can add coverages if you wanted to for a premium?
Right. So with a home warranty, and that's going to vary depending on the company that
Okay.
you look at.
Okay.
Some are a little more structured and just maybe have three different plans and a few options.
ABC. Yeah.
ABC and a few
Okay.
options. Then there are others that may have, like with Fidelity, we have four plans. And then we have over 20 options that can be added
Wow.
and enhancements
Okay.
so that you can
Yeah,
kind
like a
of
basic plan, and
customize.
you can sort of customize it from
Yes.
there.
But in general, all home warranty companies are going to have like a basic plan, and then they're going to move up from there.
Got it.
So, of course, your basic plan is not going to provide as much coverage as the top level plan.
Sure. Sure. And on average, let's speak today, and in January or February, I guess now, 24. How many companies are there out there in Texas that are providing this service? Are there 10? Are there 20? Or do you know?
Actually, they're probably closer to, I would say there's probably 10 that work competitively,
Okay.
that are more competitive, but there are smaller ones out there, which brings a good point. The home warranty industry is very competitive, but runs on low margins.
Mm-hmm.
So you will see sometimes companies come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And so just make sure that whatever company you are going with has a good financial standing and background and has been around for a while.
Yeah, that's a great point, because we were talking, and I've heard this, and I assume it to be true, that in the home insurance business, property and casualty companies, there's a lot of those companies that are either pulling out of Texas, or they're not writing insurance in Texas anymore. So then you're kind of stuck. See, again, you want to stay with the more financially stable companies, and same thing in your business.
Exactly. Exactly.
So tell us about coverage options a little bit more. I have 3 properties in Austin. I have a homestead, and I have 2 rental properties,
Mhm.
and one's a condo, and the other property, well, there's well, anyway, doesn't really matter, I guess. But what should I be looking for, or anybody should be looking for, when I want to cover my properties? And they're older homes. I mean, 2 of them were built in 1980.
Right.
And one of them was built in about 15 years ago. So these are not brand new homes.
Right. I think it's really what I usually advise my real estate agents that I work with, for their advice for their clients, their buyers and sellers, and for homeowners, is to always look at the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And if there isn't a sample contract for you to look at prior to purchasing the policy, I would be a little wary.
Yeah.
Also, I've seen some contracts that are very, very vague. I would be
like
a little,
exclusions are vague.
yeah, they're just written. The contract was written very vague.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't really say specifically this is covered, this is not covered.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that you do read some of those terms and conditions, especially the limitations.
What's an example?
For example, with Fidelity, our HVAC coverage, of course, HVAC coverage needs to be very comprehensive here in Texas. And that is one of the more expensive systems that we cover.
Yeah.
And our HVAC coverage, we do not have an aggregate limit on HVAC.
Okay. Which
means that during the policy period, we don't have a limit on how many claims you place or a dollar amount.
You can't just have one a year.
around.
There's not limited to one a year or something like
Correct.
that.
So
Got
that's
it.
a good question to always ask.
That's a good
or
question.
Look,
Yeah.
is there a limit on the number of claims that you can place? Is there an aggregate dollar limit on what the amount of the claims that you can place during that year?
Okay.
Another thing that's very important to ask around HVAC is, does the company cover AC refrigerant? And specifically, do they cover it at 100%, at $15 a pound? Just be aware that AC refrigerant continues to go up in cost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another important thing to have covered. Some companies will cover it on maybe their top level plan and not all plans. So that's another good question to ask.
Yeah. And it seems to me, and I could be wrong, but when I'm doing a mortgage, it's over the years, I'm talking about over the years and decades, actually, it seems like the home warranty is not really an afterthought, but it's something people don't pick until the end almost,
Oh, yes.
It seems like we're dealing with the title companies and where's the warranty on here, and usually it's a seller cost, but the buyer picks the company,
Correct.
And so you would recommend maybe they start that process earlier in the mortgage process as far as identifying what company to use?
Yeah, because they get so that they have enough time to kind of do their research and make sure that the coverage is what they need and they can customize that.
Let's say you buy a policy or a policy is issued at the closing. And I know we also want to talk about outside of real estate closings, how you can serve people as well if they already own homes,
Yes.
But let's assume that you buy a policy at closing and then you start doing your research and 2 months later you want to upgrade it. Can you do that?
That's a great question. A lot of times there will be a certain time period in which you can make changes.
Okay.
And after that time period, you cannot make changes.
Okay.
The reason for that is that, just think, people would just get the basic policy and then something would break and they'd say, oh, I want to upgrade that plan.
Yeah.
So that's the reason.
It's kind of like buying a homeowner's policy when you see the hurricane coming. Or something.
Right.
I better get this thing covered.
So that's the reasoning.
Yeah.
So usually the wait period is like, they'll allow you 30 days to 60 days to make changes to your plan past closing.
But not 3 days.
No, right.
Yeah.
You've got time.
Because once you start, I better start looking at this and asking some questions, because when people are getting a mortgage loan, buying a house, they're thinking about a lot of things.
Exactly.
There's a lot on their minds.
Overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
And when I talk to buyers, a lot of times they'll tell me, I've got so much going on. It's just a little overwhelming. And I think another reason that the home warranty is not really looked at until the end of the whole process as well is because it's not required.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But rarely do you see somebody not get them.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. So walk us through. We talked a little bit before the show about repairs and what's the word I'm trying to find? Let's say your AC goes out and it's 10 years old.
Right.
15 years old.
Right.
You may not have the parts to replace them. Typically, you try to replace it to make it back to new, or is that correct?
Yes. Yes. And this brings up another thing that I'd like to highlight is be sure when you're looking at companies that when you're looking at home warranty companies that they don't have a stipulation that they will not cover something beyond its expected life.
Okay.
So some companies will not cover items beyond their expected life. Let's say you have a water heater that's 20 years old.
Okay.
And because it's 20 years old and beyond that more 10-year mark, they won't cover it. At Fidelity, we don't.
Would that
look
be an
at
exclusion
age.
in the contract?
Yes,
that would be written out.
That should be
it's
written.
It's not going to be a surprise.
That should be written in the contract.
Okay.
But like I was telling you, some of these contracts that I've been reading have been pretty vague.
Pretty vague. Yeah.
And which is a little.
And who determines that? Water heater. Let's say 10 years. who determines 10 years?
The contractor would be able to see that. I mean, they
No, I
would
know,
know.
but who determines the average life of a water heater? Is that a standard that people say on
More
average?
like the manufacturers
Okay.
come out with those, and they usually they'll warranty them up to 10 years, but they'll say that the expected life is around 10 to 15.
Okay. All right. Very good. And getting back to you were saying that if parts aren't available,
Right. So
then
make sure, this is another thing to look at the contract. If a part is not available that is required for functionality of
Mhm.
that system or appliance, make sure that if they can't repair it, they will replace it.
Okay, good point. Now in Texas, I can speak to a little bit around property and casualty, auto and home.
Hmm.
It's somewhat, if not almost completely regulated by the state of Texas about, the policies. I mean, they
Hmm.
sort of write them for you. So each company has a similar policies. Is that the same way in your business? In other words, is the state involved in the home warranty business at
Well,
all?
that's actually a great question because there's been a change there
I always
last
ask
year.
good questions.
So it used to be that the home warranty companies were in Texas were governed by TREC, and now it is the insurance
It
licensing.
is by the
So
states.
that's changed. That's changed. It's no longer TREC.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Um,
Or do you have opinion?
I guess maybe it would be a good thing.
Seems like it may.
Be a little more regulated.
Yeah. Because if most people are probably like me, they don't particularly like. Insurance is somewhat of a necessary evil. You have to have it, but I don't spend a lot of time reading up on it. Which I
Right.
should. I'm not saying I shouldn't. It's just that it's so I'm always curious about insurance in general. But if the state's involved on some level, there's some sort of consistency there. But
Right.
So let's talk about repairs. Like you said, in the summertime, because Austin is like an oven,
Especially in
for 4 months.
recent years.
Yeah, recent years. 2000 and let's see, 23 was one of the worst.
Yeah.
I've been in Austin since 77, 47
wow.
years. So last year was a tough one.
Yeah.
We've had some hot summers, but last year got me.
Yeah.
Now we didn't have any claims on our homes, knock on wood, but you said a lot of people did. Obviously,
yeah.
that's a big one,
Yeah.
trying to. So let's say your AC goes out and your house is at 90 degrees and you can't live in it. How long does it take to get somebody out there
Well,
to help?
Right. And that's going to depend. And one of the things that Fidelity actually, a program that we started last year, and it was because of this, being able to get a contractor out to the home quick enough within our network, is that we did start allowing people to go outside of the network and use their own contractors. So if we can't get someone out, quickly, then we will authorize for them to go outside of the network. And another thing we started doing is allowing that across the board. Now you do have to still file the claim and get approval to then go outside the network.
So when you say get approval, you call in your claim. Do they send somebody to your home?
No.
No.
Actually, you would just call in the claim, or you could even go online and say that you would like to use your own contractor, and then someone would get back with you. And it's pretty much just at least filing the claim and letting them know, hey, I'd like to go outside a network. And it's a quick
Is that
process.
a given? They can do that?
Yes.
Okay. They don't have to go through the network first and see what happens.
Right. If they want to go that route, through that program.
Okay.
Correct.
Now we touched a little bit before the show on seller coverages, and that's something you would offer too.
Yes.
Can you explain that, how that may work if you're selling a home?
Yes.
And
yes.
it could be 3 to 4 months before it closes. Tell us about that.
Right. And I have an example of where we helped a seller out just a couple weeks ago. So a good question for sellers is to ask, what company, not all companies provide sellers coverage or listing coverage.
Okay.
It is generally, but the companies that do may charge a small fee. With Fidelity, it's a $75 charge, but it's not until closing.
You're giving it away.
There's no charge until closing. and it is the standard plan. And that's generally speaking, most home warranties that do offer listing coverage, it's going to be your basic coverage,
Sure.
your standard plan. You can add options, but at least it covers, with Fidelity, it's going to cover your systems, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and then all your kitchen appliances except for the kitchen refrigerator.
Okay.
So like your stove, oven,
Yeah.
range,
Yeah.
your microwave, garbage disposal,
Okay.
and dishwasher. And so it's good for 6 months, up to 6 months. If you want to extend it, you need to let the company know that you would like to extend it. And I had have a good example. Just a couple weeks ago, we had a seller that was, and they'd already gone through option, and water heater goes out, and we were able to replace the water heater.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what if they had currently had a warranty? Would it supersede that, or would it? In other words, they wouldn't want two of them.
Correct. Yeah.
It's for
If you
sellers
already
who really
have-
don't have a warranty
Right.
on their
right.
home currently.
Right.
Okay, because if they did, that would obviously take over.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've only got a few minutes left. I want to make sure people know how to get a hold of you, Elaine. So
Yes.
tell us, phone number or email or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So I can be reached at 512-699-1387.
Okay.
And my email address is super easy. It's Elaine Maxey, Maxey,
Okay.
at FNF, FidelityNationalFinancial.com.
.com. Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned also that if somebody doesn't have a home warranty currently, they own a home,
Yes.
but let's say they didn't renew it after they bought it, or it's been maybe a few years, and they want to have it. They want to have one now, maybe after the show, or just they've done some research. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we offer direct to consumer plans as well. And please reach out to me if you are interested in getting coverage on your home, because I can actually get you a discounted rate with Fidelity through an agent referral or through my referral. You can actually get the real estate rates. There are two different categories of plans.
Okay.
There's the direct to consumer and the real estate rates, and the real estate rates are more economical. So we can get that for you.
Okay. Very good. Very good. And let's talk about the competition a little bit, and how you set yourself apart as far as your spectrum of products that you offer, and why we should be talking to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that, like I was saying earlier, I think it's very important that the company you go with is financially stable, of course.
And how would you know? How do you research that?
Well, one thing you can look at is, like with Fidelity, we are actually, the parent company is Fidelity National Financial, which is a Fortune 500 company.
Got it.
We do have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So you might want to look up the BBB ratings. Real easy to look up.
Okay.
And most of your home warranty companies don't even carry an A rating with the Better Business Bureau, which gives you an idea.
Okay.
Then definitely look at coverages. You want your HVAC coverage to be comprehensive. Like I said, we don't have an aggregate limit on HVAC. We cover
huge.
AC refrigerant. That's very important. Also, our limits on appliances is very strong. We cover up to $5,000 per appliance, with the ability to upgrade up to $10,000 per appliance.
Wow.
Yeah, so
and appliances are getting expensive.
Yes, exactly.
For sure.
And we have some enhanced plumbing coverage and a number of different options, up to 20 options that can be added on.
Okay.
So
Well,
I
that's
think
great.
That's important.
That's great. Now, Fidelity, so your company is a subsidiary of Fidelity National Financial.
Correct.
Is it a public company? Is it traded on the exchange?
Fidelity is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that speaks volumes there, because, that's something you can research easily. So what other things do we need to kind of know? We're going to wrap it up in just a minute or two. So tell us, give me, I'm a consumer and you're talking to me, or I'm talking to you about my homes, and anything else besides the financial strength and some of the coverages that I should be aware of?
Well, I definitely think that, like I said, the limits, always look at what the limits are in the contract. When it comes to looking at a home warranty company. Another thing we also do is not only just repairs, but we do have some maintenance items. Things like HVAC tune-up,
You
garage
do?
door tune-up. Yeah, these are options also.
Is that a
And
separate
water
policy, or
heater.
is that something that you sell internally
So
as part of the
it can
package?
be, so like the water heater tune-up and the garage door tune-up can be added to the policy, and then you
Okay.
would pay the service fee. But those are some nice things to have
Because I'm not a
as
handyman, and
extra
my
maintenance.
wife wishes I were, but I'm not. But so I need somebody to come change my filters and anything else. No, I'm just kidding. But a tune-up, an AC tune-up, would be really valuable.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so that's good to know. Um, let's see here. As far as, I guess, exclusions, what's a standard exclusion to a warranty? What do you see that say, we're not going to cover that, or we can't cover that? It's not in the policy.
Yeah.
What's a standard one?
Okay.
Well, because I think about health insurance, and I'm thinking that, like, I've got to go for procedure. The insurance says, well, that's not covered.
Yeah. Right.
I just assumed it was.
So a lot of times what you'll see is something that's not covered due to a pre-existing condition.
Pre-existing.
Okay. Mainly what we're looking at is, is we want whatever we're covering to actually be operating as intended at the inception of the contract.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. What time flies? Oh, time always flies on this show. We could be talking about this for a little bit longer, but we do have to run. I really appreciate you coming in today,
Thank you
Elaine.
so much,
and
Mark.
we are
I
going to
appreciate
have
your
to get
time.
together and
Yeah.
do some business.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.